talk, stand by. Okay, we want to sort of wrap up here because I know some of you have to get to dinner or whatever. And so first of all, somebody want to offer what was some interesting new thing that you learned about another person by having this discussion? What was something that was sort of a surprise? Method
of compensation. So how an individual will use another sense to compensate for one that's not as acute. And I know that I've used that in my own personal life, but like in a very different way. So just kind of hearing how the morning routine changes to compensate for it.
Yeah. Okay, somebody else.
I guess also how similar they are, especially as students. They're saying how like they try to save time, so they can get some more sleep, like 5 more minutes of sleep before they go, so they don't eat breakfast or something like that. You feel like it's like a connection with the person because you're like, oh yeah, I do the same thing sometimes and I'm really tired.
Yeah. Now, what was there something? So you found the things that were common,
Yes.
then, which is important because actually, then you realize that's the basis for empathy with that person, right? To understand it. So then, what we want to do is, okay. Then in the second round, we say, okay, in what way is this person different? I mean, how is this person? Because obviously, this person, we're dealing with on the project, a person with a disability, right? And it's great when you find that commonality, right? Now, because then we can use that, then you can sort of put yourself in the place of that person and you see, wow. And then they're trying to do this thing that I do very easily, but then it's really different. So, somebody else? Anybody else have an insight? What was the interesting insight that you gained? Can you elaborate a little? Can you elaborate a little bit?
I can elaborate on it.
Yeah.
Joe, you're me. And he asked a great question that I hadn't really considered much before. So my disability is physical, so I'm slower in everything I do pretty much than I used to be. And the big issue I have is even little things in my life, like I mentioned when I'm driving my car and putting on my legs, like putting on my prosthetics in the morning is an overall process of like 30 seconds. As long as my legs are where they're supposed to be and I haven't left them. But like if I've got all my parts in my one little dressing corner, it takes 30 seconds to pop these guys on. And I dislike it every single morning. And in the grand, like if you really ask me, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It means nothing. It doesn't matter. It's 30 seconds. But it's just like, I guess it's because I didn't have to do it before. Now I hate it every morning. It's like, I know I'm going to do it every morning. It doesn't take very long. But I just resent the fact that it takes me an extra 30 seconds. Because before it would have been slip on one shoe, slip on the other shoe, and then out the door. But now it's legs.
It's just a daily reminder that you're not the person you used to be.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's not, it's hard for you to take hold of them, right?
What's that?
Sometimes it's hard for you to control.
Yeah. So in the morning, actually, putting on the prosthetics feels kind of good. They're nice and cool because my apartment's cooled off. But then within a couple hours, I'm reminded that I'm cramming my body with carbon fiber all day long. So at the end of the day, like right now, I'm just constantly moderately uncomfortable until I get home and take them off.
So what's interesting I'm hearing here is one is to think back to the idea of define the need and experience terms. So we have, you're talking about your experience of that extra 30 seconds that it takes to put the legs on. And what you were saying is that, the experience of that is not so much 30 seconds. I mean, that you watch a TV commercial and it's gone, right? But it's because of the association that it has and also just the kind of the physical, the feeling of it. Actually, I'm just guessing, because I didn't actually talk to you. I'm just going by what you just said. But I'm thinking as in the need-finding process, how can we go in to understand, what that experience is, and then we could think about, as designers, is there a way to change that experience from being something that's not actually dreaded, but makes you uncomfortable, to make it something that I'm looking for. I get to put on, I wake up, I get to put on the legs, right?
Yeah, you could probably give me a treat every morning.
Yeah, right. All right, there's a concept. We're just ideating here, right? So anyway, so this is the idea. Define the need in experience terms. Look at what your solution in experience terms. What experience are you getting? Are you giving how do you give, sort of delight and joy and satisfaction to somebody, no matter what? I mean, these are common needs or desires. Almost it's hard to think of any sector of life where we wouldn't like to be able to go into that place and experience delight and joy and satisfaction or feeling of empowerment or self-worth. All these are very positive things. We want to get out of that. So as designers, how do we make it so we got something here that the person gets that experience? And so then that becomes kind of the touchstone as you're looking at your designs. It's not so much about the gadget, but about what's the experience that the person's giving. Any other interesting insights from this? So I would like to suggest, moving forward, for those of you who are on projects already and you have teams, thinking about, if you have a team already, you already have a person that is the champion of that project, right? Or the user that's, except for the dead person, I don't know. But so think about what two questions do you want to ask to try to understand the basic things that we just talked about. What are the two kinds of observations that you'd like to make? And I would say, it started with, them in the situation themselves trying to address the problem or issue that they're doing, getting the pickles open or putting the legs on. But also maybe there's most of the project, there's some other person involved, whether it's a caregiver or an associate or something else. How do you observe the interaction? What is that other person doing? You want to try to understand that. And then the last thing is that, what would you build? What would you build or mock up or sketch or fold up out of a piece of paper that you could learn more from, right away? Don't wait until the schedule says prototypes are due. No, you can do this. Find a way to make something that you can put it in front of, give to the hands, put in the hands of the person, or show them, or something like that. Because that as soon as you do that, you will learn a lot. So, any questions about comments?
That one word is going to stick with me, empowerment.
Uh-huh. Thank you for mentioning that. We used to talk about this guy, Abraham Maslow, psychologist. He had this pyramid of need, and that, from building up from physical needs to mental and emotional and social needs. At the very top of the need was self-actualization. As humans, we all want to be the most we can be. And that impulse and that desire, that need kind of gets overlaid by a lot of other things, or, our basic physical needs are not satisfied. So we always want to be, the Army kind of co-opted that thing. Be all you can be. We want to be all we can be. And that's a good takeaway from that. Okay.
Excellent. Well, first of all, I want to thank all the community members who showed up and see how they add to the discussion. And we also need to thank Gail for his excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you can leave the evaluation forms on the